Well, it's all over for the Seahawks and Marshawn Lynch, Bob. Okay,
It's been fun.
Has been. We enjoyed it. Beast mode was fun, but it's all over. We're over dramatizing things a little bit. But a discussion on today's show today was the inevitable wall that running backs run into in the National Football League. It is uncanny. It is frightening when you look at it. It's around age 27 or 28 when production seems to stop. And I don't mean slow down a little bit or slip. Stop for most of the top backs. And it was a topic that got brought up on our morning show today as Marshawn Lynch approaches birthday number 28. We know the Seahawks have kind of stockpiled at running back a little bit, but it did kind of give us pause a little bit to think about, is he going to be one of those guys who runs victim to the wall?
He seems like a bigger candidate than most, or more likely candidate, just based on his running style. It's very violent. He seeks contact, where a lot of backs try to avoid contact. They run out of bounds, they go down. Now, he's not a guy that you feel is going to lose a step per se, because he's not a speed back, right? He's not a burner where you're really going to see a noticeable drop in his explosiveness, but he's a guy that breaks tackles, and maybe that's where you're going to see it, that he doesn't break 3 tackles anymore. He gets taken down by the first guy. We'll see what happens, but he's going to turn 28 this month, and that position above any other is one where guys just seem to fade really rapid. Very, very seldom is it a gradual drop-off.
Right.
It's most always a very severe drop-off, and you can look at all the greats and just go back and look at, one year to the next and where that drop-off happened, and it's pretty immediate. So, yeah, it's going to happen. He's not any different than anybody else. Now, he's lasted longer than I think maybe some thought he would with that running style, but at some point, he's going to become less effective. And as you talked about them stockpiling, they've got Turbin there. They've got Kristen Michael there. Now, whether those guys are the answers in their mind, we'll find out. But, obviously the Seahawks are well aware of what happens at that position,
sure.
And they're preparing.
And it's a frightening thought, though, anyway, even with the guys you got planned there, just because of the difference that Lynch makes. And it does feel like he could be more of an exception, even though all the stuff you brought up. I mean, look, the other thing is he barely practices during the season, especially when it gets going, because he's already dealing with his back. Well, that's probably a good thing rather than a bad thing necessarily in terms of keeping longevity going. Usually you need something like that. We mentioned how one of the real freaks in terms of that was Marcus Allen. Well, hell, Al Davis ripped about 3 years of his career away by playing Bo Jackson and benching him, and it actually is what kept him going. Lynch doesn't have that, but like we said, it's not necessarily about speed or escapability in his case. In a lot of ways, it's about effort.
Yeah, it's power.
And he just doesn't seem like a guy who's ever going to let up on something like that.
Yeah, it's power. He's a power runner.
So it's going to happen eventually. Do we think next year? Nah.